All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So tons of people have asked me, when am I selling my XRP? Will I be selling all of it? Will I be selling some of it? Or will I be round tripping my bags and holding through the next bear market bottom leading into the bull run of 2030 if the 4-year market cycle theory plays out like everyone expects? So in this video, I'm going to talk about my game plan for XRP. I'm going to be talking about my expectations for Bitcoin. I'm also going to be talking about Bitcoin in the short term on the monthly charts, and we're going to discuss some macro market news that will affect the cryptocurrency market the rest of this year, along with some key projects that I'm super bullish on for this entire bull run that we're spotting on the charts for 2024 before they make a massive move with the rest of the altcoin market. So if you're feeling bullish, comment 777. If you're feeling blessed, comment 777. And if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, you know what to do. Confirm it by tapping the like button, tapping that subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So I completely lost my voice overnight, so I'm making this video anyway. So if I sound like I haven't hit puberty yet, that's why. Hey, maybe I'm still going through puberty at 30 plus years old. Maybe I'm going to be 7 feet tall. We'll find out. But either way, Bitcoin's sitting at $49,000 right now. Ethereum at $2,600. Solana at 111 bucks. XRP still only at 52 cents, pissing everybody off. So I know a lot of people are mad at XRP and they're looking at other projects. And in this video, I'm going to share with you guys some other projects that I think are going to do very, very well. Like what happened with Polkadot during the last bull run, like what happened with Cardano during the last bull run, and some ones that I'm bullish on that are sub $1 billion market cap. But first, let's talk about this because breaking news just hit with the Senate pulling an all-nighter and officially passing their $95 billion foreign aid bill for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan with nothing for the southern border. And the final vote was 70-29 with 22 Republicans voting yes. And so it's the most U.S. government thing ever that the Senate worked all night not to do anything useful for Americans, but to pass a bill funding war all over the world and passed it while most people are asleep. And simultaneously, the inflation data came out at a little higher than everyone expected at 3.1%. So while the Federal Reserve struggles to tame inflation in the United States and them sending more money than ever before overseas to Ukraine, what does that mean for the markets? Because eventually the Federal Reserve is going to pivot on their interest rates and they're going to start lowering rates and issue QE. But with inflation coming in higher than expected, rate cuts are most likely going to happen later than everyone is expecting now because inflation needs to come down a little bit for the Fed to say it's okay to start cutting rates sooner. And so that was bullish for the dollar. And that's why we saw a little bit of a pullback in crypto, with Bitcoin. Bitcoin rallied upwards of 50K. Bitcoin's currently sitting at $49,000 right now. Now, for the first time in Bitcoin's history, and we need to talk about Bitcoin before we talk about altcoins because what happens next with Bitcoin is going to flow into altcoins. But for the first time in history, Bitcoin broke the 618 retracement before the halving, the strongest start to a new bull cycle ever. And there's about 2 months to go until the halving event. So this cycle, is not going to be exactly the same as previous cycles, but it's going to rhyme in the first ever golden break before halving. So we're currently deviating from the 4-year market cycle if we see a close above, the 618 retracement level on the monthly. So we haven't closed above it yet on the monthly. We did wick above it in February so far, but we have about 2 weeks to see how this monthly candle closes for Bitcoin to see if we will in fact break the 618 retracement. And as you guys know in previous videos, I talked about Fibonacci retracements. If you haven't seen those videos, watch the previous videos on the channel where if we trace from the all-time high to the corrective bear market low, a 618 retracement brought Bitcoin to about $48,500. And as you guys can see, we just wicked barely above it, but we closed, about $42,000-ish right here. Now, one thing that's interesting to happen is we closed with a long-legged doji for the month of January. This candle right here with this long wick that you can see to the upside and this long wick that you can see to the downside was signaling indecision between the bulls and the bears. And generally, after a long market uptrend, this indecision would lead to a sell-off. However, in February, we're seeing the markets rally. And so could we see a correction coming soon, or could we see the markets blast off and form a new all-time high before the halving for the first time in history? That's what a lot of people are saying. But let's look at the past and let's see what happened back in January of 2017 when Bitcoin broke out, from this range that you can see right here on the left-hand side of the screen. It took about 183 days, and Bitcoin broke out from about $700 upwards of $900, and we formed this long-legged doji candle that you can see right here. It closed bearish with this very small candle body close. So you can see it's red because it closed below the open, but there's a long wick to the upside, a long wick to the downside. However, this long wick to the downside did back test the previous resistance as support, and then the market continued upwards for this massive green candle for the month of February, similar to how we're in the month of February right now. However, what happened there was when the candle closed, we saw the markets push up higher to about $1,300. But then in the month of March, it was very volatile because the price fluctuated between $900 and $1,300, ultimately closed bearish. But then the price absolutely skyrocketed after that. We formed this God candle for Bitcoin in the month of May, rallied upwards of $2,700. So here's my thought process on what's taking place right now, because if we see, Bitcoin close at roughly where the wick was for the month of January for this long-legged doji candle, if we see it close right here, and even if we were to see, a red candle form for the month of March and come down anywhere between $42,000, $38,000, potentially even $34,000, $35,000 to backtest this previous resistance zone as support, I think it is foolish to be bearish in the midterm and the long term for Bitcoin, because institutions are piling in. The Fed is going to be cutting rates at some point. We have the election year coming up. Massive amounts of smaller banks are on the verge of collapsing. So even if we see a 30 or 35% correction next month, all I'm going to be doing is buying more crypto than ever before if we see Bitcoin dip within this range. And if we don't see that happen and we just see Bitcoin continuously trend higher, I would expect $35,000 to be retested about 2 years from now at the bear market bottom. So with the long-legged doji candle forming for the month of January, this is deemed to be the most significant when they occur during a strong uptrend or a downtrend. In this case, we've been in an uptrend, and the long-legged doji suggests that the forces of supply and demand are nearing equilibrium and that a trend reversal may occur. This is because equilibrium or indecision means that the price is no longer pushing in the direction it once was, so the sentiment may be changing as more bears are stepping in. For example, during an uptrend, the price is getting pushed higher and the close of most periods is above the open. The long-legged doji shows there was a battle between the buyers and the sellers, but ultimately they ended up about even. And this is different than the prior periods where the buyers were in control the entire time. So this pattern can be found across any time frame, whether it's, the minutes, the daily, the weekly, or the monthly, or even the yearly, but it has greater significance on longer term charts as more traders contribute to its formation. And so if we look back to February of 2021 during this bull run, when we saw this strong market uptrend right here, we saw this long-legged doji form where this wick to the upside, massive wick to the downside, small candle body close, followed by this bullish candle to the upside. And then the candle body closed at exactly where the wick was for the long-legged doji, followed by a trend reversal where you can see we almost came back down to back test the previous range as support that was resistance all the way back here in January 8th of 2021 at roughly $43,000. And then we continued with the uptrend. So if we see this candle body close right at where the wick was from the previous month and we see a trend reversal, I would expect us to continue the uptrend after backtesting potentially 32 to 35K, and for us to start going upwards of 60, 70, and 80K. Because if we just start going up right now and we just continuously blast higher and higher and go past the all-time high, that's not going to be that good news, because for a healthy bull market, we need to see corrections of 20, 30, maybe 40% sometimes to sustain the uptrend during the 3-year bull market. Because if we were to zoom out on Bitcoin for the monthly and we were to measure from the market cycle top of December of 2017 to the market cycle top of November 2021, it was roughly 4 years, 1,431 days. Now, if we were to measure from the bottom of December of 2018 to the bottom of November 2022, it was 1,431 days, roughly 4 years. And so if we want to continue the 4-year market cycle theory, we need Bitcoin to cool off for a little bit. Because all of a sudden, if Bitcoin just starts breaking the all-time high, I'm personally going to be taking profits on a lot of my positions because I think a much deeper correction and a sell-off would be taking place. Because if I measure from the top of 2021 and measure 1,430 days, that would bring us to roughly the 1st of October of 2025, where the top theoretically should be in. Now, how high will that top be relative to the past? Well, if I draw the Fibonacci retracement tool from the top of 2017 to the bottom of 2018, we almost did a 4.236 extension. So if I were to draw from the top of 2021 to the bottom of 2022, a 4.236 extension would be roughly $247,000, almost $250,000. So I think Bitcoin could do anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000. The sweet spot for what I'm expecting is roughly $190,000. I think it's just going to stop shy of $200,000. Now, if it would take Bitcoin a year to go from top to bottom, well, that would put the bottom at roughly the 1st of October of 2026. Now, coincidentally enough, if we measure from the bottom of November of 2022, that'd be about 1,430 days away from the bottom. So for about 4 years. So this is what I'm expecting to happen for Bitcoin. Now, when will I be selling my XRP? Will I be selling all of it? Now, I'm not going to be selling all of my XRP. I will be taking profits on a large chunk of it as we get closer to the top for Bitcoin. And let me get into the XRP chart in a little bit. But before I do, I'm going to be looking at the RSI on Bitcoin. And as you can see, when the RSI was above 90 was at the peak of the last bull run, when we were about 60 something thousand dollars. When we were at the actual all-time high, we were forming a bearish divergence where the RSI was only at 70, making a lower high. So I'm going to be watching for the RSI to come upwards of 90. And I can't go wrong taking profits upwards of 90 because when you're above 70, you're overbought. When you're above 90, it's seriously time to consider getting out of the markets. Because as you can see right here, when Bitcoin went upwards of 90 on the RSI, that was the previous top of December of 2017. So I'm going to be watching this zone right up here between 90 and 100 on the RSI for Bitcoin around October of 2025. Now, how do we know where the bottom is in and when the best time to back up the truck is during the next bear market bottom? Well, we're going to be looking at the RSI as well too around October of 2026 and comparing to the past. As you can see, for the bottom of December of 2018, we were all the way down at 43. So we weren't below 30 on the monthly for the relative strength index, but we were close. We were at 40. For the last bear market bottom, we were at about 41. So I would expect the next bear market bottom to be anywhere between 40 and 45. So I'm going to be looking right around this zone right here to be entering back into the markets. And when you guys subscribe to this channel, I'll be sharing with you when I'm going to be buying more crypto than ever before. Because as you guys know, I bought Bitcoin at about $16,700-ish between 16K and 17K. And then I sold a lot of my Bitcoin and rotated into altcoins at about 35, 36K before we saw the rally to 50K. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that was a bad move. Not really, because I got more gains on altcoins because altcoins, some of them outperformed Bitcoin, and several of which we were talking about in previous videos. Some of them I'm going to be talking about in this video that I think are going to do well for the rest of this bull run. So when I bought Bitcoin right here, I was looking at the RSI on the monthly, and I saw that we are right at the levels that we were at for the last bear market bottom. So when we tap this level again on the monthly RSI and we were in drastic oversold territory for Bitcoin, it only made sense. It made common sense to buy Bitcoin again. And so when we go down within this level again, below 45 on the RSI in October of 2026, I'm going to be watching to back up the truck again. When we go above 90 on the RSI on the monthly around October of 2025, I'm going to be looking at exiting a large chunk of my portfolio. Now, what's going to be the catalyst for this bull run other than, the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates, printing money, the presidential election? Well, it's the devaluation of the dollar, and it's the adoption of, digitization on a mass scale as society evolves. And so when you look at companies like Ledger, announcing that Coinbase Pay is now available as a buy provider through Ledger Live, where you can use your Coinbase login to buy crypto and have it immediately secured with your Ledger. The reason why crypto, I believe, is going to go up over the next couple years is because a lot of these companies are making it easier for retail to get in and buy crypto. For the previous cycles, it was very difficult. It was very hard to create your accounts and then do all this stuff. And so the ease of use, the ease of onboarding, the ease of purchasing is what's going to allow that wave and that tsunami of retail money to come in. And so what companies and what projects is that liquidity going to flow into? Well, it's the cryptocurrencies that are on the majority of these exchanges. Now, you do want to realize as well, too, that the best projects sometimes to get into aren't the ones that are listed on all the exchanges, because by the time they're listed on every exchange, the market cap is already in the 5, 10, 15, 20 billion dollars. So the spot projects below 1 billion, you do kind of want to have a compromise to where you have to jump through some hoops. But early innovators that are willing to jump through some hoops that face a little bit of a technical disadvantage where it's a little more complicated are the ones that get wealthier than the retail that come in when it's just easy. Because when it's easy, that's pioneers, right? Pioneering is where you get paid, because if you were the first to monopolize the railroad industry or the car industry, it was very difficult to create a car back then, because you had to overhaul the mindsets of people that were used to scooping up poop from their horses, right? With a horse and buggy. Look at the conversations they used to have back then. It's like, how much grain you feed your horse today? Look at the size of my thoroughbred. He goes at about 40, he goes about 27 miles an hour. Let's have a race and see how fast our horses can tow. Now people are racing their cars, going Vin Diesel style, in the streets of Tokyo Drift. And so with cars nowadays, crypto is the new evolution of what's happening in the car industry, in the phone industry. Netflix put, Blockbuster out of business. You got Airbnb is putting hotel companies out of business. Uber and Lyft is putting taxi cab companies out of business. And so companies like Ripple, are going to be overhauling the entire SWIFT system, which is what banking infrastructure is run on. And today, depending on when you're watching this video, I'm recording this in advance, but Ripple signed a deal to acquire Standard Custody, strengthening their product offerings and adding to their growing portfolio of regulatory licenses around the world. Now, I made a video about this, I think it was yesterday, and Brad Garlinghouse posted this, saying they're able to improve existing product offerings for their customers, as well as explore new products and use cases in a fully compliant way. To date, Ripple has secured nearly 40 US money transmitter licenses now. The other video is like 34. So they just keep adding them. An MPA license from MAS and VASP registration with Central Bank of Ireland and counting. And so this is going to be massive because it allows them to legally do business with banks and other payment providers in multiple jurisdictions, not in the US, but around the globe. And XRP is still only sitting at 52 cents. And so with all this news, it's pissing people off, right? And I expect it to piss people off even longer. Good, because they need to shake the weak hands out, the lettuce hands. Most people won't make it. Most people think XRP is a scam, and for reasons that make absolutely no sense, because the only thing they're paying attention to and the only thing that retail cares about is price action. And I get it. 80% plus of people are here to make money. We're not here to kumbaya around the campfire and, where we go one, we go all. Yeah, that's true, but you're here to change your family's life. You're here to make money. You're here to buy a beach home, investment properties. You're here to supply food for your family and make sure that you don't get absolutely wrecked and you don't die in World War III, okay? That's what you're here to do. You're here to have a prosperous future. You're here to protect your family. You're here to make a lot of money so you can live live an awesome lifestyle. Everything else is a bonus. The community is a bonus. When you subscribe to the channel and you watch these videos, this information that you're watching for free that we're not charging for, pretty soon we're going to be charging for information like this, and you guys are going to get top-notch information when you join our financial education platform when that's released. We've been talking about that for a while. If you want to get early bird access to it, go to bullrunners.com. If you appreciate content like this, I know you're going to love what we provide in our financial education platform. But looking at XRP, this is what I'm expecting to happen, okay? If we were to trace out the chart from the past and see when XRP started breaking out, we're still a few months away from the breakout that took place back in 2017, arguably 150 days, 182 days away from a breakout. So that's like 4 or 5 months of more price suppression to piss everybody off. But if we were to measure from the top of Bitcoin's bull market cycle, that was in December 2017, XRP topped out a month after that. So the cool thing to know is when Bitcoin's topping out, XRP might top out after Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin bottomed out, XRP bottomed out after Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin's bottom was in December of 2018. Well, XRP didn't bottom until March of 2020. It went even lower, and that was about 486 days later than we broke out of there. And so if we were to trace this up and see when XRP's top will be in, what would be a realistic price prediction for XRP? Well, all we have to do is draw the Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, and that would bring the high to about $13 for a 4.236 extension. So that's why I'm expecting anything for a blow off top to like 20, 30 bucks is just a bonus. Where I'm going to be hedging some of my portfolio is between $10 and $15. That's where I will be hedging some of my XRP. I'm not going to be selling all of it. Now, if we start going upwards of 40, 50 bucks, I'll probably be selling like 80%. Right? Why? Some people will be like, oh, you should wait for $589. You should wait for $1,000 XRP. It's the new world standard. It's going to be backed by gold. Ah, right? All the all those people that believe that, which I love it. You know, I hope for that. That's why I'd be holding 20% of my portfolio for that. Because if that were to happen, I'd be tens of millions of dollars, guys, probably hundreds of millions of dollars just with 20%. But I'm not going to be dumb, and I'm not going to round trip my bags and watch XRP top out at like 10, 13 bucks and then start coming back down to $2 to $3 and just still sit there holding my bags for another 4 or 5 years. I think that's dumb. The whole diamond hands philosophy was perpetuated by marketing and people out there that wanted to use you as exit liquidity. And so don't be dumb, okay? Sell before we hit the absolute top. Now, I'm not going to tell you what price point to sell at. I'm not going to tell you when to buy, okay? I'm just speaking out loud for myself because it's not financial advice, okay? Don't buy, don't sell XRP. In fact, don't buy any cryptocurrency mentioned on our channel because 90% of people lose money in crypto. It's very risky. Consult your financial advisor. Go ask them for their opinion. I'm just showing you the facts and on the charts, and anything that I'm sharing with you on what I'm doing is just my opinion, and I'm probably 100% wrong, and I'll probably lose all my money. So by liking this video, you're okay with getting absolutely wrecked. All right? So with that being said, let's look at this because the XRP bottom would come in at roughly January 1st of 2028 if we see something like this happen for that March of 2020 took place and we see another pandemic event. Or if it follows Bitcoin, the bottom would then be around October of 2026 before we start the next bull market cycle leading into 2030, where I think XRP could be doing 50, 100, 200, 300 bucks, depending on how much liquidity is in the crypto market by 2025. And so before I start giving you guys crazy price predictions for 2030, we need to see how 2025 plays out and then 2026. And once that plays out, that'll give us a better understanding of where the total market cap of this industry is and which projects are going to succeed. And so super bullish on XRP. It's actually my largest holding. But another one of my largest holdings is ICP, Internet Computer. This project has done very, very well. Now, as you guys can see, we're on the verge of another breakout. Now, a key pivotal area to watch if we break to the downside, if we see Bitcoin see a sell-off similar to what happened here in the months of March and April going into Bitcoin's halving, and then it takes us 3 to 6 months to break out for a new high for Bitcoin. If we see something like this happen, then I would expect the altcoins to see a little bit of a bleed out to the downside with Bitcoin. But nonetheless, if ICP breaks to the downside and breaks below this upward trending support, I would expect the next bounce to be around 10 bucks and for us to come down within this range and then bounce. And if Bitcoin is continuing to the downside, then maybe we continue a little bit to the downside. But if we break to the upside, ICP would retest where we wicked at back here in December of 2023 and even January of 2024, which is anywhere between $15 to $16. And we could blast even beyond that. So watch these key resistance lines and support lines. Don't just, FOMO in right now. Watch for a break and close to confirm if you're planning on day trading anything. But ICP, guys, basically the future of the internet. This project has massive support. Now, lots of people are jumping on the bandwagon, but it's still early because when you look at where we were for the last high, we were upwards of like 87 something dollars for ICP. So for right now to sit at just $12, if we were to go back to the high, it's like a 5x from right there. I think we could be going between $100, $250 for ICP. And we're just starting out in the early phase of this bull run, right? When in doubt, zoom out. Look at how this chart looks. Like This is absolutely incredible because this whole phase right through here was just this massive accumulation phase and massive capitulation to the bottom. And now we're going into this disbelief rally before we go into hope, belief, thrill, optimism, euphoria. And once we're in euphoria again, we're upwards of like $100, $200 up here. Then we'll be looking at the RSI for Bitcoin, the RSI for ICP, and seeing where we're at. Another project that I'm keeping on my watch list and adding to my portfolio is Luxo, LYX. This project right here is sitting at $7.25 as a market cap of $222 million. And the circulating supply is 30 million. The total supply is 42 million. So the vast majority is in circulation. We did see a recent sell-off in the past 30 days, down from $11. So the past month, it's down 24%. So a lot of people are like, oh, this project's down. But that's actually good news because looking at the chart, LYX to USDT right here, you can see this zone of support, which was resistance back in November 2023, also was resistance back from August to August of 2023. And now we're wicking out of this zone right here. But on the RSI, we are down at about 32 on the RSI on the daily, which is getting close and close to more oversold conditions. Because if we go even further to the downside and we go below 30, I think we're going to reverse out of here and we're going to see a trend reversal for Luxo. Now, this is awesome as well too, because we need to look at Luxo to the Ethereum's price chart and how it's performing to Ethereum. And as you guys can see, this zone of support that it wicked off of multiple times and acted as strong support, we're in this zone right now. So if we see a candle body close in this zone and the RSI right now sitting at 26, this is absolutely incredible. Incredible on the chart right here. I would expect us to reverse on out of here and for us to see a bounce relative to Ethereum, meaning that Luxo would outperform Ethereum if we see a bounce in the short term. Now, in the long term for this project, I don't see why this project couldn't be doing at least guys, a 5 or 10 billion dollar market cap, which is a 10 to 20x. When we look at something like Polkadot, the founder of Luxo was part of the founding Ethereum team that wrote part of the smart contract for Ethereum. And also, Charles Hoskinson was part of that team too. The founder of Luxo and Polkadot, the founder of Polkadot, Gavin was a part of it as well too. So the founder of Luxo was a part of that team. And it's crazy, guys. The market cap's only like 200 million to 300 million. Look at Polkadot. Polkadot currently right now is at $9.2 billion market cap. Now, if we click on all and we go on market cap, during the peak of the 2021 bull run, Polkadot did a $52 billion market cap. Cardano did over a $90 billion market cap, and Luxo's market cap is only $221 million, which might seem like a lot, but relative to the other massive layer ones, when we click on all and we click on market cap, this is Luxo's first bull run cycle. So imagine that for a second with all of these projects that are having their first bull run. A lot of the OG investors are going to be rotating their profits from a lot of the older projects into newer projects, and I think Luxo will be one of those projects. Now, if we click on markets, it's listed on KuCoin, Gate.io, MEXC, CoinX, and Crypto.com. Now, the cool thing about this is it's not yet listed on Binance. It's not yet listed on Coinbase, which is absolutely massive because if or when this gets listed on those two exchanges, I would expect the volume in 24 hours to go absolutely ballistic for this project. I know you're wondering if this project is going to do so well. Why are they not already in like $1-2 billion market cap when you see meme coins doing that? It's because they're not focusing heavily on a lot of paid marketing. This is not a paid video, guys. I just believe this project's going to do well. And yes, full disclosure, I do hold some because I believe it's going to do well. And I'm showing you what's happening on the charts. And also at the same time too, organic marketing is the best marketing because if a company doesn't have to spend a lot of money to pay for people to talk about it, and it naturally gets a lot of attention, then all the naysayers and people who don't understand how market cycles work will be the ones buying in on the massive three wave for this impulsive Elliott wave as we go into the top of the bull market cycle, because we're just finishing up wave number 1 in January of 2024, and we're doing corrective wave number 2 right now. So looking at the RSI sitting at almost 30 compared to USDT, and then looking at it compared to Ethereum sitting below 30, this is absolutely incredible. Another project that I'm looking at is GMX. Now GMX is finishing an inverse head and shoulders pattern where you can see the neckline of roughly $62 to $64. You see the left shoulder here at 41. You can see the head here at 28. The right shoulder right now if we see a reversal to the upside, we would need to see a break of this neckline for us to retest the all-time high. But GMX, guys, is one of the top projects that I've seen a lot of people talking about, and it's definitely one to consider keeping on your radar. I'll make some more videos about GMX for perpetual trading, leverage trading, and all that good stuff, and the benefits that they have for this project. But I do think this one will absolutely crush it this bull run, because it is its first bull run cycle as well too. And for these projects to do well, we need to see the total 2 and the total 3 go up, right? Because as you can see right now on the chart for total 3, which means that this is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is every other altcoin on the list. We're in this symmetrical triangle right now. And the last time that we were in a symmetrical triangle after breaking out of COVID was right here from August of 2020 until November of 2020. And then we saw this massive green candle form to retest this complacency dead cat bounce peak right here. And then we saw another, corrective period for an extended period of time before we just blasted off past the all-time high. And so if we see something similar to that happen, it would look something like this. The next breakout for the altcoin market cap is right around $700 billion if we take Ethereum out of the mix. Now, coincidentally enough, that's exactly the middle range of this complacency stage for this dead cat bounce. It was also support back here in September 2021. It was support back here in December 2020. And it's where we consolidated at for this entire time frame before we fell off a shelf for the bear market. So I would expect if we break out, we do something like this and we move relatively quick beyond this and we come back down and consolidate at this level right here before we break and we form new all-time highs post Bitcoin's halving. So I don't think we're going to go above the all-time high before Bitcoin's halving. I do think if we push higher in the short term for this month, then we'd see a much deeper correction and a consolidation for about 3 to 6 months after Bitcoin's halving. Then we go absolutely parabolic and we start printing God candles similar to what happened back here from January of 2021 until May of 2021. During this breakout, it took about 162 days before we really passed the all-time high and it started going absolutely crazy. So about 162 days would put us in August of 2024. So if the halving's in April, well, that's May, June, July, August. That's about 4 months after Bitcoin's halving. And so Q4 of 2024 is where I'm expecting the majority of the gains to be made in the market. And then depending on how soon we pass the all-time high and how high we go, well, we need to draw the Fibonacci retracement from the all-time high to the low for the altcoin market and see what's possible. To do a 2.618 is 2.5 trillion. To do a 3.618 is about 3.3 trillion. To do a full extension is about $3.8 trillion. So I think we could go anywhere around $3 to $4 trillion. The sweet spot is about $3.3 trillion that I'm expecting for the altcoin market cap to reach by October of 2025, somewhere over within this range right here. So we're still early, and together, you know what we're doing? We're backing up our truck all the way to the bank. We're grabbing the bags, packing them and stacking them, leaving no bags left behind because we believe the spending power of the dollar is going to keep going down in value with what the Federal Reserve is doing. That's a fact. They're printing more money than ever before. They're sending it to Ukraine. They're not helping American citizens. All they're doing is they're filling their pockets, but you can position yourself to become wealthy so they don't absolutely destroy your savings account by discovering our top altcoin picks first before we make videos about them, and by getting early bird access to our financial education platform when that's released by simply going to bullrunners.com, clicking the button on the page, put in your best email address right now, and you'll be instantly subscribed to our daily video newsletter. You'll get the best information to help you prepare for the worst that's yet to come in this economy. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'll see you on the next video. I'll also see you on bullrunners.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.